Welcome to Tree Doctors. I'm your host, John Passmore, and we're starting the program from inside a cave. We're at Cave City, and this is the cave the city's named after. It's been operating for tourists since 1932, and it's still open right now. We're going to catch up with Ed Dickey, the head tree doctor at Dickey Tree Service, right after these messages on Tree Doctors.
The tree doctors at Dickey Tree Service can inject a zap back in your tree's sap. Research has showed that ice-damaged trees are stressed, and stressed trees lead to insect and disease attacks. Micro tree injection is the answer for your trees. Micro tree injection is a closed system, delivering the exact dose of systemic chemical directly to the sap stream of the tree. Once the problem is identified, the tree doctors at Dickey Tree Service can inject vitamins, minerals, or insecticide directly into the sap stream of your trees. This bypasses the roots and provides immediate results. Micro tree injection has been university tested and field proven for over 35 years. After the tree doctors at Dickey Tree Service treat your trees, you receive a written 1-year guarantee. We won't treat a tree we don't think we can help. Let the tree doctors at Dickey Tree Service put the zap back in your tree's sap.
Let's go catch up with Ed Dickey, the head tree doctor of Dickey Tree Service. We're going to take a look at some old trees right above my head here in Cave City.
You know, woodpeckers are endangered species, and they help get rid of some of the borers and the beetles and unwanted insects. And Eugene Street here in Cave City has his own little device that helps attract them to his yard. And Mr. Street, tell me what we got here.
We got a trap set there for pileated woodpeckers. It's, what did I tell you it was?
It was soot.
Soot, beef soot.
Beef soot, and you put this in here to attract them to come to your yard.
And they come in here and eat them. That's about the only bird that'll eat this.
So you keep them a steady diet there, and that attracts them to your yard, and it benefits your surrounding woods area.
Yes. Pileated woodpecker is quite extinct, really, almost extinct.
That's exactly right, and it's an endangered species, and I'd like to mention that the woodpeckers are the good guys, people. They peck out the beetles and the borers in our trees and our forests, and without them, we would be in bad shape. And Mr. Street's, he's helping take care of the woodpeckers, and you see a bunch of them out here?
Well, not a bunch. They're real scarce, but I see a few.
And the pileated woodpecker, that's the red-headed woodpecker, if a lot of people don't know what that is.
He's got a top knot.
He's got a top knot on top of the red head, is that right?
That's right.
Yes, sir. Well, hopefully some other people would, this is beef soot, and it's just put in a little wire container here and hung around, and like Mr. Street said, only the woodpecker is attracted to this, mostly, and you can see he's been eating on some of it.
He's been working on it.
Well, I appreciate you giving our viewers a tip on how to take care of some woodpeckers and keep them active in the yard.
I'm glad to. And I wish you'd get the public up here to help me rake the leaves when they start falling here too.
Well, I'm gonna put out a call for that. If you got a minute, stop by and help old Eugene clean up these leaves up here in his yard. We got them so healthy they just dropping leaves all the time. But we're gonna move on to something else. You're retired now. You told me before. What'd you retire from, Mr. Street?
Bank of Cave City.
Bank of Cave City. You was a banker. And how long was you a banker?
52 years.
Oh my goodness! I bet a bunch of people remember you then as being a banker.
Too many.
Oh. No, I bet I remember my bankers. And Miss Street, was you involved in the financial end of it also?
No, I'm a retired school teacher.
Oh, worthwhile occupation, sure is. But both of you's retired, and how long have you been retired, Mr. Street?
Let's see, 7 years.
7 years. And are you?
Haven't got caught up on the job yet. I'm still working on it though.
Still working on it. It looked like it gives you a good, healthy outlook anyway. And back to our lightning arrestor that we put in, they had lost 24 TVs up until a couple of years ago. We'd put this in, and it's just one of the things that being retired, you don't have to worry about unplugging everything all the time. Is that right?
That's right. That'd become a job, is unplugging and then plugging back after the storm. But this eliminated it. We quit unplugging.
You had mentioned you was a retired banker, Mr. Street. Is your son still in the banking part?
Yes, he's been in 29 years.
Oh, so he's followed right in your footsteps, I guess.
Well, I don't know whether my footsteps or not. I think he made better tracks than I did.
Well put, well put. But he's in the banking business also.
Yes,
And our son-in-law is in the bank here at Cave City, Sam Beller.
And what's the name of that bank, Miss Street?
Bank of Cave City.
I was up here just recently, and I want to pass this on to people so they'll know that this is not 100% foolproof, that he had a lightning strike here lately that came in on a line from down the road. Is that right?
Right, yes. Coming on the TV cable and the telephone line. And we lost the last two televisions we lost in that deal.
Yes, sir. But other than that, no strikes at all.
The lightning didn't hit here. It hit down the road here a ways, but it came in on the line.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're going to have to get an attachment to stop that in the future, so, or you're going to have to keep buying TVs.
Oh, and we lost 19 telephones, too.
19 telephones. My goodness.
In 14 years we've lived here.
14 years, 19 phones. That's a lot. And the 24 TVs gets my attention. It sure does. But it makes you feel a lot safer with the lightning protection, too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I felt real good until this last thing happened.
Right.
I wanted to blame it, but that wasn't the case.
Yes, sir. I understand. But I wanted to bring that up to let people know lightning does get to them other ways, and they have to take care of some of those problems, too. But overall, taking care of your yard, I've got one at the office down there. They make me feel a lot better in a storm. But back to your trees where we treat them, Miss Street, 2 years ago, when you called me up here, you had the boars is killing a couple over there by your driveway.
Yes, they were. And I hate to lose these pretty old trees. And I didn't realize it was boars that was killing them.
Yes, ma'am. At that time, I showed her and Mr. Street where the boars was working on them, and we did this whole hillside here for them. And I'm proud to say I don't think we lost a tree.
We haven't lost one since then.
And here just a week or so ago, he had me come in and we did a soil injection to protect these trees through the winter and on through next year. So he won't have to do that rigorous spraying. Of course, he likes to enjoy his yard. He's got more things to do and get out here and spray every month, hasn't you?
Yes, I have. I'm retired and I just can't get caught up.
I hear that a lot. I tell you what, I hope I got as much energy as you do. It's when I retire. But Mr. Street, on the good thing about the technology has just brought us up to this point where we can treat and save the client the hard work of having to spray and do any other work. And that's just new technology that's come available to us. And Mr. Street and his wife is taking advantage of that. And their yard's a perfect example. If you go that extra mile to take care of your trees, and you'll benefit from it. Am I correct?
Right. We've got 110 trees here in the yard, and that puts out a lot of leaves. I want you to find some way to eliminate the leaves.
Well, they say there's some good with some bad with some good on everything, and I guess, but I think you're an organic gardener too. You found some uses for those leaves, haven't you?
I tried to, but it'd like to work me to death.
Yes, sir. Well, Miss Street, are you happy with your trees after all this treatment?
Yes, and I certainly feel more secure with the lightning rod. We no longer have to run and unplug everything when it thunders. So it really is a secure feeling.
Yes, ma'am. That's what they're meant to be. It's just that, and once you get them in, there's no maintenance. And we went through I want to mention this. We went through an ice storm this past year, and it broke a few limbs, but the main branch we put the lightning rod on still there.
Not a few. It broke a whole lot of limbs.
Yes, sir. But the main branch where it was installed is still there.
Yeah.
Because when we put them in with the client in mind, and so they won't have to worry about it in the future. And like I'd always said, they're easy to test to make sure they're still active. You don't have to climb the tree or anything like that. You just put the electronic thing on to show they're grounded. But I want to thank both of y'all, and we're going to move here in a minute down to, you got a real neat tree I want the viewers to see that I think they appreciate seeing. It's they're down by your barn. Mr. Street, how old do you reckon this tree is that's swallowed this rock?
Your guess is better than mine. I think probably 100 years or better.
Yes, sir. Well, you've had this farm for 40 years or better, and it's been this way ever since you've been here?
Well, it's not that big, but it was there when I got the farm.
Yes, sir. Well, this is a several ton boulder that the tree is just about to grow over, and in fact, it's inside the tree. And I thought the viewers might get a kick out of seeing how a tree and this boulder has stayed active, and he's got a nice shop that this shades right here, and you can't see in the background.
You don't have that kind of condition down in the flat country.
No, sir, we don't. We have to bring them rocks in generally, but up here you got abundance of them, don't you?
We got plenty of them. They can get them for free up here if they move them.
Well, we told that on one of Dolph Riggs from over in Kennett, Missouri. He says he comes over and with his pickup every once in a while, and the farmers are glad to give him the rock. So you're one of them farmers, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Got plenty of rock.
So if somebody needs some rocks, they might contact you. You give them some rocks?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's good. If a viewer needs a few rocks around the rock garden or something, Mr. Street's over here in Cave City. And if you get over this way, be sure to take a look at this. It's out by his barn. I think it's very unusual, and I hope the camera shows so. Several ton boulder that's inside of this oak tree, and Mr. Street had me treat this tree a couple years ago, and the tree's doing fine, and I hope it'll do fine for years to come, don't you?
Well, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. If your product's as good as you say it is.
That's exactly right. Well, proof's in the pudding. It's been 2 years, and it's still kicking. We keep them kicking. A lot of times, if the situation calls for it, we don't trunk inject, we soil inject. And the reason being, we get a longer residual from our systemic insecticide that we place in a molt type fashion right around the base of the tree. And that enables us also to add vitamins into our spray mixture that's injected, as well as minerals. And we have a enzyme that's also added to the tank, and it's quite expensive, by the way, to add this, but we do that for the good of the tree, and that's what it's all about, the good of the tree. And what that does, they're all compatible with our systemic insecticide that we're using, and that enhances new feeder root growth, makes the tree stronger in months and years to come, as well as replacing some of the lacking minute minerals and elements this is not to be confused with fertilizing now, minerals and vitamins that trees, just like people, need. What you just saw me do was soil inject this tree. You noticed I also sprayed this very heavily inside this cavity area we're going to repair. What I did that for, I want to kill out anything that's in there that'll be allowed to dry for about 24 to 48 hours before crew comes in and we build the forms and actually go to filling this. We don't want to lock up anything in there, needless to say. We want it good and clean when we put it in. That's partly why the old practice has got away from it. It's quite time consuming, but we still do it, and we're willing to take that extra time because a large beautiful tree like this is worth the extra time, and we put in extra time and effort to make it work, and I think you'll see when it's all said and done why we put the extra time in it. I'm here in the entrance to the Crystal River Cave, and right behind me is a beautiful old black gum tree holding up this wall, and it's kind of encompassed and growed around this wall. And here with me is the cave owner, Dan Kerrigan, and if he'll take a minute and talk to me. Dan, tell us a little bit about this great cave here.
Well, we call it Crystal River Cave, and it's the buildings up above it are on the National Historical Registry. The man that built them wanted to get some way of getting people off the highway to bring them in to look at the cave. So he made a little motel up on top of the ground there. And when they come down into the cave, you just see sights you had never seen before. You're underground Cave City, and you're going underneath the highway, and you're seeing a river in the back of the cave. It's called the Crystal River, and that's why we call it Crystal River Cave.
Yeah, and I must add that Dan took me and the camera crew and gave us a tour, and it's a magnificent cave. It's something to behold, and a lot of old timers will tell you if you've seen one cave, you've seen them all. Well, that's not the case here in Cave City, because believe me, I've seen a lot of caves, and this cave got my attention. How many rooms is in this cave, Dan?
There's 5 rooms, and the last room is the main corridor of the cave, and as far as we know, it's endless, and nobody knows where the beginning or the end is.
And the acoustics, I talked to you a little bit about the acoustics in there before. You've had church groups sing in there and different things, haven't you?
Yes, sir. It's just like an echo chamber in there. It just sounds lovely and beautiful. Church groups, musical or a cappella sing, and they just both sound lovely.
Right, and there's some big historic trees growing right on top of the cave, and this is, you take real good care of the ground. You got a picnic area here for the people, barbecue things, picnic tables. You know, the buildings, like you say, is built out of the parts of caves from all over. It's just a sight to behold, and I got to apologize to you. My crews have worked this area a long time. I didn't realize this was here, but I'm tickled to death I found it, Dan, and you took a minute to show it to me.
Well, we appreciate y'all coming, and like you said, a lot of people don't realize we're here because we're well hidden underneath, the cave's underneath the town, and nobody knows it's here a lot of times.
Right, but you've got a motel up there, and tell a little bit about when you're open and your hours of your cave.
We open up the first weekend after Easter, and we are here every Saturday, and we're here through the week in the earlier part of the day because I have another job later in the day, and we'll be open from the weekend after Easter to the Labor Day weekend, every weekend. Our number that you would want to contact us is 870-283-5010.
Okay, Dan, that was great. And how long does the tour last when they take a tour?
The tour overall takes anywhere from about 45 minutes to an hour, and we have part of the tour consists of above ground, and then the rest of it goes underground into the cave.
Okay, and the price for this tour?
$4 for adults, $2 for kids.
And it's a well-spent money. Dan gave us a tour here, and it's really something to behold. I did not realize that we had a cave of this magnitude right here around us, and folks, this is big caves, big rooms, and I hope you'll entertain the thought of coming and checking this out. And this is right here in Cave City, and I'm glad you took a minute to tell us about it, Dan.
We appreciate y'all coming here, and we hope people will come see us sooner or later at least.
I think they will. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, who would have thought right below us here is a big old cavern of a cave, one of the rooms, and a big nice oak tree growing right above it. And he got some, I'm here with Dan. We talked to him a little bit before, and tell us a little bit about your cabins you got restored here.
We've restored 4 cabins, and we rent them out as motel rooms. We charge $25 a night or $100 a week. That's for a 7-day week. And they've all got modern conveniences. We call them like a rustic cabin. They've got refrigerators, microwaves, air conditioning, cable TV, just anything you want at home. And we want people to enjoy their stay here.
And they could give them a really good chance to check out the cave and the area, and for a cheap price.
Yes, sir. We think it's a real good deal for their money.
Oh, I know it is. And these buildings, I have never seen anything like it. And like you say, they build out of, you told me they built out of some of the material from the caves in the area. Even your main home and the motel office over there is the same way. And the trees is what caught my eye. And I'm just tickled Mr. Street told me to come over here to visit with you and show you the cave that's the elusive cave of Cave City that I finally found. And thanks again, Dan.
Thank y'all for coming. We appreciate it.
We're making our way from Cave City to Cherokee Village. So we'd stop here at this nice picnic area at evening's shade. We'll be back with more on Tree Doctors right after these messages.
It's not hard to see what killed these trees. It was boreworms. The borer is a hard insect to control, virtually untouched with spraying and other applications. But with systemic injection, when the borer eats the tree, the borer dies. Trees are dying all over, but we've got the cure. We give a 1-year guarantee when we treat your trees for the borers. We've been doing this 35 years and we know what we're doing. Give us a call. We're the Tree Doctors, Dickey Tree Service, in your yellow pages under trees. Hello, I'm Ed Dickey, the Tree Doctor at Dickey Tree Service. I'm coming to you from inside of a tree. We've been getting inside of trees for 35 years. We get to the root of the problem. Give us a call. We know how to save your trees. We put the chemical where it needs to be, inside your tree, taking care of insect and disease problems. We're often imitated, but never duplicated. We've been doing this 35 years. We know what we're doing. Give us a call. We're the Tree Doctors, Dickey Tree Service.
I'm here at the fire department here in Cherokee Village, and here with me is the fire chief, Mike Taylor. And Mike, can you tell me what was going on with this old elm tree about 4 years ago?
Well, it's just about to split apart, falling both ways.
Yes, sir, and y'all have a picnic area and everything here, and y'all want to utilize and keep this tree, didn't you?
Absolutely. It's about 100 years old.
Yes, sir, and it's an old elm tree, and the city, Cherokee Village, had me come in along with the fire department and put these rods in, which was 4 years ago, and it's still doing good. You remember my instructions after I put it in, Mike?
Yeah, we do. Matter of fact, the guys tightened those things up about every other day for, it's about a 6-week period, I think.
Right. What we were doing at the time of year, it was really loaded with leaves, and I didn't want to put too much outward stress on the tree, and I instructed the chief if their men got a chance to snug the nuts up a little bit periodically, and which y'all did, didn't you?
We sure did, and it worked too. Pulled it back together.
You betcha, and the tree's growing over the rods, and it's going to be there a long time, a whole lot longer, isn't it?
I hope so.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Chief, for talking about it with me.
You're welcome.
I'm here in Cherokee Village on the south fork of the Spring River, and here with me is Melissa Garrett, and she's got a nice place she's built here a couple of years ago. And tell me what was going on with your trees when you called me, Melissa.
Well, they were dying. The tops of them were getting really thin and a lot of dead wood in them, and they were obviously distressed. And so I'd seen your ad on the billboards and heard you on the TV and everything, so I called you to see what could be done, and you pointed out it was borers, and they were all over the place.
Yes, ma'am. And since that time, that's been several months ago, we've got rid of those, and the trees are really looking good. Melissa had a couple of dead ones at the time when she had me look at this, and I instructed her to get those out, and she has since got those out. And I noticed over there, Melissa, you left a portion of the stump there, I guess, for people to sit on?
That's a bench. They cut them off so nice and level, and then the fellow that does my yard was going to take all the wood, and I said, wait a minute, I want that one because it's shaped just right for a bench. And he said, well, that's not going to last very long. And I said, well, how long is long? And he said, well, only 3 or 4 years. I said, that's long enough.
Yes, ma'am, and you can remember the tree that way, too. Yeah. Another thing I want to point out, you're an artist, aren't you?
Yes, I am. That's one of the reasons I like being here. There are a million things to paint.
Oh, indeed. You got a beautiful place and a beautiful yard. And your work is displayed where?
My work is displayed mostly in Northwest Arkansas at Wishing Spring Gallery and at different institutions over there. And then I also have private shows. Got one coming up in Eureka Springs. I have one coming up, a private showing coming up at a studio gallery in Bella Vista, Arkansas. And so just lots of things going on with that. This painting was done down where the South Fork of the Spring River, which is this river right here, and the Spring River come together. And it was on a September day. It was about 95 degrees outside, quite unlike this year. And spent several days down there doing 3 paintings, and have sold the other 2. But I wanted to keep this one for myself because it's so memorable of this area.
Oh, it really is, and it shows that Spring River right. Melissa, I'm so glad we caught you here. I can see why, you picked this spot to build your residence, and it's easy, I guess, to get inspired here, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's totally inspirational, and that's the reason that I elected to live here. I'm just really happy to be able to have it for the time that I'm here, and it inspires me constantly.
Yes, ma'am. I can see where it would, and the trees are just gorgeous around here, and I'm glad we could help you save some of them. I was just curious, have you noticed a big difference in the trees since we worked on them?
Oh, absolutely. They look much healthier. Of course, right now the leaves are starting to fall and the color's starting to change, but they look absolutely much healthier. Not nearly as many bugs crawling around, and I'm really pleased about that because it would have literally killed me to lose these trees.
Oh, yes, ma'am. You can tell your whole structure here is built around with the trees in mind. And again, I want to thank you for showing us your art, and good luck in the future.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You did a good job for me.
Thank you. I'm here in Highland. With me is Leroy Tucker. We're at the Army-Navy surplus here in Highland. And Leroy, you called me in a few years ago about these oak trees here on the ground. What was going on with these trees when you called me?
They had worms in them, and they was eating them up. And you done some trees for me here, and you did a lot more at my home. And folks, he killed the bugs, and he did not kill the trees. I'll guarantee that.
Well, that's good, Leroy. Well, we can see the trees still alive behind us. You got a nice operation here with your flea market, and your you got how many storage units you have here at Highland?
We just went up to 57 as of about today.
I'll be doggone. So you're growing as we speak, aren't you?
Growing every day, just selling this stuff and renting these units, going right on.
Yes, sir. Was you born here in the Highland area?
No, I was born about 3 miles away from here, and I'm going to tell you it's one of the proudest events that ever happened in this area, too.
Yes, sir. I could made you happy for sure, didn't it?
Well, I wasn't too much aware. It was a bad time, 1931, and I wasn't welcome, and I can still feel it, too.
Yes, sir. Well, Leroy, I appreciate you taking a minute and talking about your trees, and I think we're going to keep keeping them looking good, and you're doing a fine job with if people need a place to store their stuff or are interested in Army, Navy surplus stuff, Leroy's got whatever you need here. Is that right, Leroy?
That's right, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. We're here in Cherokee Village at the home of Bill and Linda Rossett, and how long have y'all lived here, Bill?
About 9 months, almost 10 months.
So you all are new transplants. Where'd you move here from?
Plano, Texas.
Plano, Texas. How do you like it here, Linda?
We love it. We've been coming here for a long time. Glad we moved here.
Yes, ma'am. Bill and Linda had called me in. They had actually I talked to Linda first. Kind of tell us what's going on with your trees, Linda.
Well, we saw some ugly-looking webs up there. Some worms, I guess, had moved into those trees, and we wanted to see what we should do about them.
Yes, ma'am. And when I came, I actually ran into Bill before I got here at the fire department down there, and so we'd already met briefly. But I had told Linda that we could treat those for that, but nothing too much to be concerned with as far as eating foliage. But we did find a borer problem in our larger trees, and we're taking care of that. And what do you think of this area, Bill?
I love it. It's just beautiful, and living here and is in retirement is the ideal place to live.
Now wait just a minute. Now you're not really 100% retired, aren't you? Don't you have a big job for you? I know it doesn't pay anything, but it's an important job. Tell us a little bit about what you do, Bill.
I'm working for the city and the county and Homeland Security.
Very important job, sure is.
At this point in time, yes.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that too. And Linda, I guess you stay busy up here. And, are you retired with them or stay busy also?
I've gotten really busy with church activities and community chorus and just enjoying living here.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm just tickled y'all took a minute to talk to me about it, and I like to let our viewers know what other people are dealing with out here. And it's just nice talking with you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, and appreciate the job you did here today. It's very efficient.
Thank you. Thank both of y'all.
Thank you for joining us today on Tree Doctors. I'm John Passmore for Ed Dickey. If you have any questions, you can always go to dickeytree.com and email Ed from there, or you can call the number below. Remember, we're here on KAIT every Saturday and Sunday at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we'll see you next time on Tree Doctors.